I think it's on Sykesy really to lose the game for his team, not necessarily Jail winning the game. It's if Sykesy runs at the correct times, it's hard for Evangeline and Inviolable to chase him down to get the kill. And in between wings, if he doesn't take any big amounts of damage, then he should be absolutely fine. Wong won't have to waste his bubble too early. If he has bubble during the wings, it's a lot easier for them.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how these teams decide to open. Evangeline actually taking a lot of damage going into that bash, catching a huge heal from Joxy that was going to be topped off, not really having to use too many defensive cooldowns. Joxy actually using his stone form though, so he's not going to have his trinket available for another 15 seconds. Right now, Evangeline wanting to get aggressive onto Sykesy. Both of these players do have their offensive cooldowns up right now. Vincent Wong, in response, also using his Avenging Wrath. He's going to be able to easily heal through this damage for the time being, and Babel actually getting swapped to, taking quite a bit of damage too, as Sykesy does have that Incarnation Berserk up for the time being. Joxy trying to spam out those flash heals onto Inviolable, having a very hard time actually topping him off.
Yeah, this is so far going very similar to what the winners finals were, where we're going to see Evangeline and Inviolable just taking tons of damage, Joxy just struggling as best he can to keep both of them topped off, despite all of the CC that's coming out from TURTASTIC. And we also saw, just a moment ago, we saw Evangeline and Wong using their Avenging Wrath at the same time. As soon as Evangeline uses Avenging Wrath, Vincent Wong is going to use his as well, just to make sure to counteract that. Sykesy taking a bit of damage here, does manage to get a Cyclone out, a sneaky little Cyclone out onto Evangeline there, which slowed down that damage just a little bit. So he's basically just kiting at this point, doing his best to keep Wong from having to use any of his remaining cooldowns, because all Wong really has left at this point is that Divine Shield, as well as his Execution Sentence. But like Divine Shield is the big one we're looking for, and there he's actually going to go ahead and use it. Feels like he needs that in order to keep Sykesy alive.
Yeah, and that was a good CC chain they had on Wong. They got the full fear into a lockout, into a Hodge, into a trap. Now damage is coming out on Evangeline here. They get his bubble, and it's pretty easy for them to force cooldowns onto Evangeline as long as they get CC going onto Joxy, because he's running out of stacks. He has no stacks left. He has 2 bops, but that isn't that great of a cooldown against Sykesy and Velido here.
Yeah, absolutely not. Evangeline actually having his Avenging Wrath coming up in around 25 seconds. Of course, Vincent Wong is going to want to save his wings for as long as possible, but I don't know if he can right here. Caught into the full fear. It does break. It looks like he is going to be spamming out the seals. He actually gets locked out. Sykesy could be in a lot of trouble right now, down to around 30% HP. Save of the Light does proc. That might be able to carry him forward far enough. Vincent Wong, though, has no trinket, no bubble available. Sykesy has to run. He needs to get away. Evangeline on the chase, though. Sykesy down to 10% HP. The full trap just about to end onto Vincent Wong, but it was just too long of a CC chain coming out from Jail. Avenging Wrath came out from Evangeline, and they were able to take him down.
Yeah, so Jail actually managing to take the first game in this series, which is really, really important for them. Like we said before, they need to be able to win 2 series in order to be able to the game. Unfortunately, after the disconnect, it looks like our UI has not been able to reload properly, but the game is playing out, and we don't want to tell them to stop because the gates have now opened at this point. So we're going to do our best to try.
This is the true test of casters right here.
Exactly.
No cooldowns, no health bars, anything. So let's see what we can do.
It's a fun new experiment. Can you cast without seeing any of exactly what's going on? So Yellowhammer, I believe, is Kappa, actually. And so he's actually caught over to the side right now without having any ability to get any healing out. Evangeline is getting super low, actually. Evangeline really low right there. Does get a nice heal there from Joxy after the Leap of Faith. So now Joxy looks like he might be trying to move in there and maybe get a fear out. Kyle, aka Sykesy, just sticking onto Inviolable right now, putting out as much damage into him as possible. I'm not really sure what we have in terms of defensive cooldowns available for either team at this point, but it actually looks like maybe TURTASTIC is actually doing pretty well right now.
Yeah, Kyle actually landing that full Cyclone onto Evangeline. He does want to push. It looks like he wants to pressure down Inviolable as much as possible. But finally, Velido and
Kappa.
No, sorry, Kyle and Velido. Sorry, the names are messing up with me. Able to reconnect onto Inviolable for the time being. He's having a difficult time getting away. I believe actually, no, his pet is not dead. Yellow Hammer spamming out those heals right now, using that Aura Mastery to top off his team.
And it's really been easier for Sykesy to live on this map because of the big area he has to kite in. Right as soon as Kappa gets CC'd, there's a full trap there. It's a lot easier for him to survive in this situation. He just mains eventually. He's going to go for a clone, but if he gets in trouble, he's just going to walk away. And this time he's going to survive just fine, which was happening a lot in the first couple games that we saw in the winners finals, where Kappa would get CC'd, but then Sykesy would live by himself. But they're just doing way more damage. I believe there's the wings from Evangeline, so we should see the counter wings from Kappa there. He goes to top him off, and he also bobs through it. So well played again by... It's Kappa, right?
Yeah.
Or no, Vincent Wong, right?
Yeah. It's
Wong. Vincent Wong. I was like,
that's one of the things too about Sykesy going for these Cyclones throughout the game is he's actually baiting interrupts for Wong, so it makes it a lot easier for Wong to actually get out those casted heals. So I really like. I mean, ultimately it doesn't matter that much if Kyle gets interrupted on those Cyclones. So if he's throwing them out, he can either bait interrupts or actually get the Cyclone off. It's going to be really good for his team. Valido trying to connect onto Inviolable right now. Actually pressuring him down quite a bit. Joxy actually able to top him off for the time being. Once again, Sykesy going for those Cyclones, lands a full one onto Joxy. Wants to connect onto Inviolable, who is down to around 20% HP. He's trying to get away, uses that freedom onto himself, actually gets gripped by Joxy. He's going to be able to heal him up with that. Right now, Wong is just standing with those heals as well. Yeah.
He's low. Yeah, he's sitting at half HP. He was at 1% there, I believe, for a bit off screen. He's taking a lot of damage here. There's a bubble coming out from Wong. He's going for Cyclones, but he just gets interrupted over and over. There's a massive spell coming out onto Wong's bubble. If they can get CC now, and it looks like he's trying to, there's a full trap onto him. And Sykesy actually pops his Incarnation to try to stop them here, but he's taking too much damage. He's trying to hop around to get CC out, but if there's any CC, yeah. I don't think Wong had any cooldowns left, and he gets that execution sentence off too late, and it goes on himself instead. So he probably had that coming out of a CC. And
there's our UI.
Of course we get the UI. Great. Everyone leaves the arena. Thank you for that.
Timing. Beautiful. But that is that's that CC chain we're talking about. If Inviolable, Joxy, and Evangeline can line that up onto Wong, it's so hard for Sykesy to leave. Once Vincent Wong has no trinket, he has no bubble. It's basically like a 20-second long CC chain that Sykesy has to somehow survive through.
Yeah, and this is the map where he was supposed to survive, and he really just didn't. I feel like he just wasn't running enough that time. Whenever he was in trouble, he was kind of just staying with Evangeline and Viable. When other games, he was just running across the entire map, waiting for the CC to end. So I don't think he
like a nice sort of Zen moment where they're able to take that comfort and pull out another win here, or if it turns into them maybe feeling a little bit too confident and ending up making a mistake. We're about to find out. The gates have opened, and these two teams are about to face off yet again.
Yeah, and I'm looking for Sykesy to play a little bit more defensive here. Whenever he sees Wong in CC, he needs to get out and fast. He needs to save his... Like right now, he's going in while Wong is feared. Maybe that's not the best choice here. Maybe he should wait until Wong is out of the CC chain, because he's opening himself up. He's very vulnerable right now. He gets the crows on him, and he's starting to take a lot of damage. Just a binding shot I was talking about. He trinkets out of it and pops his wall, and that's something he may not have had to do if he waited.
Yeah, Evangeline having to run away actually gets a life grip there by Joxy. He's going to catch a huge heal once he's out of that Cyclone. Evangeline should be a-okay, gets topped off immediately. Avenging Wrath is going to be fading from him, but Sykesy dipping dangerously low right there. Seb of the Light did proc. Vincent Wong also using his Avenging Wrath. Vincent Wong, of course, still does have a bubble, his Bop and Trinket available, so he's still working with a lot of defensive cooldowns, but that was a very scary moment for Sykesy as he did dip so low.
Yeah, fortunately for Vincent Wong, like he had actually used his Avenging Wrath very briefly before that, but it was still active. And I think if he hadn't still had that active, if that had happened a couple of seconds later, Sykesy may have actually gone down there. Inviolable forced to use a deterrence there. He felt a little bit too under pressure and decided to go ahead and pop that instead of making any sort of unnecessary risks, which is really smart. They've generally been going after Evangeline, so Inviolable should feel like he's fairly safe to at least use his first deterrence. He's probably going to hang out of that second one a little bit better. And now Evangeline, once again, the target of most of the pressure. Joxy caught into a full bash. He actually gets that blessing of protection from Evangeline to be able to break out of that and get a couple heals out. Nice job by Evangeline, really using all of the strengths of the Retribution Paladin, which we would expect from him, the amount of experience he's got playing Ret. Inviolable, though, super low. It's a good thing he did have that second deterrence available. Gonna go ahead and use that, and he's gonna get top back off once again, but if TURTASTIC can keep making those quick swaps onto Inviolable, that could be the end of it for Jail.
He actually has no deterrences left. It's going to be up to Evangeline to make sure he lands those Blessing of Protection onto Inviolable if he gets caught into a full stun. I think that's going to be the only thing that saves him. That is the full maim. Evangeline may want to consider using the Bop on it. Doesn't look like he's going to. Joxy's able to just freely heal him up. He's going to be okay. Sykesy dipping dangerously low as well, down to around 20% HP. He has no more defensive cooldowns. Vincent Wong needs to connect some heals. He's trying to fake cast over and over and over, and he just doesn't have any healing. Finally, the Avenging Wrath coming out, as well as the Execution Sentence. I think he actually used the Execution Sentence before Avenging Wrath, so it didn't really optimize that healing there. Now, because of that, he's actually going to have to use his bubble as well. So Vincent Wong having to use so many cooldowns there to keep Sykesy up. And now TURTASTIC's in a situation where they have nothing left. Evangeline does have that Avenging Wrath, and looks like he is going to pop it. Vincent Wong caught into that full trap. He does decide to trinket it into the full Hodge, though. If Joxy can push it and actually land a fear on him, Sykesy could be in a lot of trouble. Joxy, though, getting full strangulate, does decide to stone form out of that, going to be removing it, pushing in onto Vincent Wong, trying to get that fear as soon as he can. Sykesy down to 9% HP, and that's going to be it. Jail is going to take this first series, and they're going to now have to play TURTASTIC in another best of 5. But I mean, these 3 games have been so convincing coming out from Jail. They've been doing such a good job.
Yeah, and again, looking at the scoreboard real quick, the time in CC for Wong, again, just so high compared to everyone else in the entire game. They're just rotating that Hodge into the fear, into the trap over and over, and it's really hard for them to stop that because the next CC in the chain comes up with like 15 seconds remaining as the last one ends. So it's just very hard for him to avoid it all. And a Feral Druid and a Death Knight cannot really help him avoid it. They don't have tools to stop them. They don't have Massive Spell. They don't have Sacrifice. They're not any of those classes. They don't have that many. I guess they do have some off heals. It's Feral Druid and Death Knight, but they don't have that